everyone. I hope you're doing amazing today. So I wanted to take some time and talk a little bit about a topic that people don't like to talk about, and that is anxiety. So I was at work today and this lady comes up to me while I'm going down the steps and she says, "How do you do it to always look so happy?" And I told her that I just genuinely felt happy today. But then when I went back to my office, then I started thinking about it and I'm like, well, some days, yes, I do feel genuinely happy, and that's why I'm smiling throughout the day and enjoying the day and saying hello to people and all of that. But other times, something people don't know is that I'm not always happy. People see me and they assume that, yes, I have a smile on my face, I'm happy, woohoo, but that's not the way that it's always been. And, it's something that I think a lot of people struggle with, finding that balance between enjoying what you do, being happy, genuinely feeling that happiness inside, and then also dealing with those anxieties that come into our lives and then questioning, why do they come to begin with? Why do these anxieties exist in the first place? So I wanted to just give you a little bit of information of how I've learned to deal with this kind of thing that happens to everyone. So years ago, I was getting involved with several campaigns. I was getting involved with several organizations, and it was all for a great thing. There were great causes. But I was doing so many things at one time, and I was ignoring something incredibly important. And that thing that I was ignoring was myself. I was always acting outward, always thinking about who I could help, what I could do for other people. Everything was external. And I did this for years. Year after year, I would think of who I can help. And it's great. But you get to a certain point where you have to remember, what do I want? What is it that I want? And something that I've learned over the years is that I have to be very honest with myself. So I realized that when my mind was thinking one particular thing, let's say that I wanted to spend time with family. Okay, let's say that's what my mind wanted, and my heart felt that too. But I had already committed to something beforehand. So even though I wanted to spend time with family and my heart wanted to be in that place, I had an obligation. Okay, and this was nothing that was work related. This was something completely extra, something that me missing out would not affect the entire cause. But because I had already said I was going to go, I felt completely obligated to go. And I went, and while I was there, I felt like I didn't want to be there. I found myself thinking about what my family was celebrating and why I wasn't there. And I started feeling guilty for choosing one over the other. And this isn't to say that if you commit to something and later change your mind to just leave like that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I had to learn to listen to what I really wanted. So I had to take a step back, and this has taken years, because I found that if I wanted to do something and my heart was in the right place, then my actions would come naturally. But if I wanted to do something and for whatever reason I didn't do it, but felt that I should, that guilt and that inconsistency with myself was what would cause the anxiety. So I'd wake up just random mornings and I would feel so anxious and so nervous. And my mom would ask me, like, "Carito, why are you so nervous? Why are you so anxious?" And I honestly could not tell her because I didn't know. I didn't know what it was. So I'd wake up with this just terrible nervousness in my stomach. I could feel it in here. And then my mind would start thinking super quickly and trying to analyze what I was anxious about, what I was worried about. And sometimes I could pinpoint something, but other times it was a complete blur. Most of the time it was a blur. And it got so bad this part's kind of crazy, and a few of my close friends know this, but not a lot of people do. However, I think it's important to share so that other people know that this happens. You know, it happens to everyone at some point or another, and if it doesn't, then good for you. But okay, so I was getting very anxious and very nervous, and it was like day after day after day. And then one day, all of a sudden, I just started getting rashes all over my body. The first time, it started at the bottom of my feet. Then later, it was in my hands, and my hands got swollen. And then one time, even my ear, like my earlobe got swollen. It was so random. It was so random. And like, I knew, okay, once the itchiness begins, it's over. Like, something's gonna get itchy. I'm gonna get swollen. I'm gonna have to leave. It was like something that would happen so often. So what would happen would be, I'd be okay for a few months, and then all of a sudden, bam, the anxiety would hit, the panic attacks would hit, and that random swelling or whatever would happen. And my parents were so concerned because they're like, why the heck is she swelling up? What is the problem? And it got so bad, guys, that one day, well, actually it happened twice. I went to the emergency room. I had to go to the emergency room because I literally thought that my throat was swelling. I thought I was going to die. And I told my husband, I said, we have to go to the emergency room. I'm going to die. My throat is swelling and all of these things. And he said, you need to calm down. I think you're over exaggerating. I don't think your throat is swelling. And I thought, he's trying to kill me. Like, that was my first thought. I'm like, he is trying to kill me. And guys, I really believed that. Like, at that moment, I was like, everybody's against me. There's something wrong with everyone else, but not with me. So I went to the emergency room. When I went to the emergency room, they checked everything. There was something physically wrong that they could pinpoint. So they said, you know, you had a panic attack. And I'm like, panic attack? I'm like, you caught it too late is what it was. So that was one of the times. One of the other times, we were actually traveling all the way to California. We were going to see my husband's family, and we couldn't take a plane. DACA dreamer issue that I'll tell you about later. But anyways, we couldn't take a plane at this point, so we had to drive from North Carolina all the way to California. So it was one of my first trips ever meeting his family, and on our way there, same thing happened. The bottom of my feet started getting itchy. My hands were swelling. And what else was swelling that day? It was mostly my hands and feet, actually. Oh, I remember now. Yep. And then I had bumps all over my arms. And we thought it was an allergic reaction. So, of course, we stop at the emergency room. And same kind of thing. I tell them that, you know, I don't know what I ate, but something's wrong. I'm swelling here. I'm getting rashes over here. I was a mess. Like, I looked terrible. I looked crazy. And turns out that I wasn't allergic to anything. It was another panic attack. So I was so confused because I'm like, okay, yes, I'm nervous, but am I that nervous that I have to have physical symptoms? Is that a thing? And I started researching it, and it was a thing. Apparently, it happens to a lot of people. I didn't know that. So I went to the doctor when we got back from the trip, and they said, well, you need to go ahead and just take anxiety medication. And I've never been on any kind of medication, and I didn't know what to think of it. And of course, I'm Latina, so some of my family was like, that's not a thing. She must be pretending or something. So it was this whole thing. But I got on the medication for a while, and the experience with that wasn't good. It wasn't good because, as I told you before, my dreams are very vivid. I have wonderful dreams, very creative dreams. Well, not when I was on this medication. When I was on this medication, you guys, I was like, I felt like a little zombie. I was just kind of like, you know, just zoning out. So I took the right amount that they told me, but at night I wouldn't be able to have those dreams anymore. I wasn't able to have those creative dreams like before. So it really upset me because I thought, you know, why would the medication stop the creativity? Why would it stop my dreams? You know, and I'm no doctor, right? I'm no doctor. I just think that there has to be a way for it not to do that, for it not to take away from what I am creating at night in my dreams. So anyways, I was on that for maybe I did do a year on it. I think a year, like on and off. And then I decided that I had to completely get off of it, because what ended up happening was that my dreams weren't as clear. The creativity wasn't quite there. And then also throughout the day, I just found myself zoning out. I found myself not quite as passionate about things like I would be without the medication. And believe it or not, this is what helped, okay? And I'm hoping that this part will help you or someone that you know. It's very simple. Okay, so the anxiety would come on anytime that I would do things that I didn't really want to do, that I did for other people. I did for obligation. I did because I felt bad. I did because whatever external, okay? Whenever I would do things for those reasons, it wasn't in line with me. And that's what caused anxiety for me, because it was an imbalance. It was an imbalance of what I knew I wanted to do, what I felt I wanted to do, but my actions were not lining up with that. So can you imagine your head telling you one thing and your heart is agreeing, but then your actions and you are doing something totally different? So it's a total disconnect. So of course it's going to cause some kind of anxiety for you. This isn't to say that other people do not suffer from a form of anxiety or a form of panic attacks that are not directly correlated with the brain and certain neurons. That is not to say that some people may suffer with that. I'm talking just personally on my situation. So just take this with a grain of salt, and hopefully it helps you, but I am no doctor, okay? But anyways, so I literally started letting go of things, okay? External things. So the position that I had at one of my jobs was something I didn't want to do. Something I didn't want to do, but again, I was doing because I had already committed to it. And I did it for about a year and a half. That's a long time. That's a long time of doing something that you don't really want to do, okay? Had to let go of that. There were people in my life that I allowed to come into my life and that were taking me a different path, a path that I wasn't okay with. So I had to detach myself from that as well. I had to let go of a lot of things to find me, to find what I really wanted, to find what my mind, my heart really wanted. And it wasn't a quick process, but it was simpler than you'd think. It sounds difficult having to get rid of things, but getting rid of things is so liberating. It's so liberating because then once you get a cleaner slate, you can start adding. You can start adding things that you genuinely like and that you genuinely love and that you genuinely want to do. So after I started practicing that, there was no need for the medication anymore. There wasn't a need for it because I wasn't allowing myself to do things that I genuinely didn't want to do. And it sounds so simple. And you would think that I would have gotten that years ago, but I didn't. You know, it's something that that I have learned over time, and that's why I'm sharing that's why I'm sharing this with you today, because just the other day, one of my friends was telling me how anxious he was getting with certain things that were going on in his life. And I told him the same thing. I told him my story. I said, look, this is what happened to me, and this is what I did. You know, and I'm hoping that it helped him because he was in a tough place. He was in a tough place at the moment. So, again, I'm just sharing this with you to let you know that anxiety, anxiousness, fear, that's all a real thing. That's all a real thing, but there are ways to deal with it. And for some people, medication is the answer. For others, it isn't. And I'm just here to let you know that it's okay to have those feelings and to experiment with what is right for you. So that is my anxiety rant for the day. But I do hope that this helps some of you get through these tough situations in your life. And I would like to hear from you. I want to know what you want to hear about more, what you want me to focus on more. I will always be doing my book updates periodically, but also I want this to be a place where you can come and just know that it's okay to go through whatever it is that you're going through. We have a community here that is here to support you in any path that you decide to take and the struggles that you may be living right now. So please comment below or send me a message. I truly appreciate those. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week. Try to, actually, I'm not going to say try. Let's all be extra positive today, and let's allow ourselves to be honest with what we want, and let's allow others to do the same. I wish you the best absolute week ever. I will talk to you soon. Bye.